r/AskReddit. Escape room operators of Reddit, what was the weirdest thing you've seen a group do? We had this group of 3. The theme was an abandoned subway station. We had some flashing lights so they would see something, but I forgot to switch the flip on when bringing them to the room. They never ever turned on the lights. The button was next to the door, and spent the whole hour in almost complete darkness, only using the metal carriage headlight to check every clue they had. They were doing very well, so I didn't told them to turn the lights on. Then, the same group spent at least 10 minutes reassembling a skeleton, arguing which bone would go where because they thought they saw some marks on the fake bones. Still in almost complete darkness, after the skeleton was back in one piece, they figured out it was useless and managed to find the final code and went out in time. Their main feedback was we really liked the darkness. It made it a bit difficult to navigate and read the clues, but the immersion was great. We tried the room without lights a few more times afterwards on groups we thought would not be complete idiots, and made some minor changes to accommodate, like making it easier to navigate without bumping your feet everywhere. The lights off became the default setting in the end. My daughter managed an escape room that had a toilet prop that moved away from the wall to reveal a hidden passage to crawl through after using clues to open it. Guests were informed that the toilet was inoperable. There was a note on the toilet stating not to use it. There was even a key hidden in the toilet. Someone stuffed in the toilet daily. They then had to fish the key out of their stuff and crawl through a puddle of it to complete the game. Daily. Honestly, if it was that common, I would just have that part redesigned without the toilet prop. Not exactly weird, but we've hit several groups, couples, decide to hook up in our rooms, seemingly forgetting that every corner of the place is covered by CCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of them didn't forget, but got off on the idea of being seen. Curious what you do in those cases, if anything. Confront them about it? Pretend it never happened? I once worked at the escape room with a fake weapons armory with a prop grenade in a glass cabinet which acted as a key to open the door out, and one group came in, couldn't figure out the puzzle, and then literally smashed the glass and grabbed it and escaped the room, and got met with the security guard and were forced to pay for the cabinet, which was expensive due to the lock being a custom. Sucks for that group, I guess. Did it seem like it was a screw this I can't figure this out smasher? I'm so immersed in this I forgot we shouldn't break things smash. I was visiting my brother in Shanghai, and we made a day out of doing 3 different rooms. We were always teamed up with random Chinese people who we could only communicate with in a limited fashion. So one room had this futuristic theme, and we had to find the combination to a keypad. Later that day, we are doing this one about an abandoned hospital. I'm paired with 2 14-year-old Chinese girls, and my brother is in the other part with their mother. Well, me and the girls are making our way through, and I see this keypad on a side door. I try the combo from earlier in the day and it works. We end up going down these stairs, and there's a basement full of props. Then we get told we're not supposed to be there. This wasn't even part of the room we were in. It was the facility's prop basement where they build and repair their escape room stuff. Group shows up in the dead of night, high as a kite. There was an elevator door in the room, opened by a code. They stand in a semicircle in front of the elevator for a solid 20 minutes before asking for a hint. I chime in through the microphone, "Have you opened the elevator yet?" Dead silence for half a minute before one of them asks, "Dude, you got an elevator in here?" Story NO.2. Team comes out, holding all padlocks they found in the room, and dump them in the hands of my poor colleague. Story NO.3. Team of 3, 1 guy, 2 girls. Guy goes back to a previous room, the girls turn off the light and start making out. They did not know about the IR cameras. I have more stories of customer violence than I have of anything weird. Weirdest thing I had was a girl try to offer her older sister up for a date if I'd give them extra clues. Most distressing moment was a player, dad in his 50s or something, bust into my control room cause he desperately needed the stuff. Which, truth be told, I understand. Maybe they got IBS, maybe they got served something bad at the restaurant, whatever. I don't want to clean up human feces. But there were 2 ways out of that room. The entrance, and the little door off to the side that says "Do not open," where I'm manning the computer and the mic. Why the hell would you bust down what was basically a closet door instead of just leaving the room? Dude ended up having to clamber over me and my fold-up chair in this cramped little control room, while his family watched from the puzzle pedestal in the corner. Breakups. You wouldn't believe the amount of long-term relationships I've seen go to a head and become destroyed but just being in a locked room with puzzles. Really? We has a proposal in my facility. I didn't hear of a breakup though. Must be real awkward for them to have to solve the puzzles after breaking up with someone. Not an operator, but a friend of mine was telling me recently about one where the final clue to open the door was in a file on the desktop of a Windows computer. He's a DevOps and security professional, so naturally he turns off this computer, boots it into safe mode, gains access to the command line, uses it to access the files on the desktop, and solves the whole room in less than 5 minutes. I think the group then did the whole room properly but were pretty smug about their record. One of those types of players. A guy once proposed in the escape room I worked at. It was very cute. He had us put the ring in a treasure chest, and proposed on one knee when she opened the box. On a less nice note, I've hid men's stuff in the corner of the room before, stuff in the toilet with the door open, which was super awkward as the office is next to the toilet, at the end of a long corridor, which means I had to watch them do this whilst walking to the control room. My office has a very nice customer restroom off the waiting room. Many old man customers decided to walk around the counter to use the employee restroom, which is the portal to the back office where I'm seated. They just walk up to the toilet, drop trow, and noisily pee with poor aim with me through the second still open door, seated 10 feet from their completely exposed and very hairy stuff. Not an escape room operator, but a family friend owns a few different escape rooms. She was showing us footage from one of their groups getting frustrated with a room, then busting out stuff and just smoking it while still in the room. The old stuff method to solving life's problems. Had a few neighbors try that. Surprisingly low success rate. Nothing too weird in my time as a master, but one that does stand out was the pyramid people. There was a puzzle that you solved by looking in a mirror at the right angle, to line up some markings on the mirror with markings on the ceiling. Once you have the correct word, you input it in the device and get a reward. Collect all the rewards, get out. I had a family decide that making a human pyramid was obviously the solution to this puzzle. I had to run down to the room and ask them to please not do that because someone might get hurt. What? How did they come to the conclusion that that was the answer, of all things? I'm not an operator, but one day me and my friends got hammered and signed up for an escape. The theme was insane asylum. In one of the rooms there was a corpse mannequin with a clue written on his ear. We found it pretty quick, but my friend was convinced we would need it for later, so he threw the corpse over his shoulder and walked around screaming, "If we get stuck, I'll check his stuff for clues." The staff were not impressed. And in case you were wondering, there were no stuff clues. Last sentence killed me. My so and I were trying to break out of a jail cell. The guide said, "If you get stuck, I'll say a clue." But it may not always be a helpful clue. We get stuck, asked for a clue. Guide tells me to put my shoe in the toilet. I'm both gullible and trusting. Amazing. I wish I could do that without getting fired XD. There was one escape room that gave us a huge keyring with 1,000,000 keys early on. We'd already solved the lock it went to, but were struggling to finish the other puzzles. The key item we needed to end the game was behind a lock. So when we realized we were low on time, we had one person try every key on that ring just in case. Turns out one of the keys worked, but none of them were supposed to. The operator was super confused and asked us which key so he could take it off the keyring for the future. I'm pretty surprised nobody else had ever tried that. My memory could be off since it was a while ago, but I think I remember a game master telling us that items would only be used once to complete puzzles, so it's possible that anyone else using the keys for the earlier puzzle didn't think to use it for this reason. So, I managed this room that had a decorative dungeon-like area that was behind a closed gate that was screwed shut and wasn't meant to be opened. So one day, a group of slightly tipsy yet overall nice and polite middle-aged men come into play. As always, I instruct them about the rules and tell them the usual: everything that must be opened can be done so without excessive force and use of outside tools, blah, blah, blah. The game starts and at one point they seem to be stuck and unable to find the next clue. So they start flipping everything over and generally making a huge mess. Nothing unusual. I turned away from the monitor for literally a couple of minutes to go to the bathroom, and when I came back I see that one of them has a mini pocket-sized toolkit with him that he's used to screw open the dungeon gate and is now trying to take apart a piece of furniture, while another one has fully undressed the mannequin that was inside of the dungeon and put on its bloody robe on himself. Needless to say, they did not find the exit key in time and the room had to be closed for the rest of the day, due to the damage they did. They were nice enough to apologize and offer to help with cleaning the place up. However, some of the stuff they broke couldn't be repaired as easily. I haven't run one in a few years, but I've got some fun stories. Never forget Side Chick. When I joined this company, they were the first in the city, and we were in an odd location that could be hard to find, so company policy was to call patrons who were 10 men late. We called this person, and it was a very agitated woman who didn't know who or what we are, and after confirming the booking name number she snarkily told us that was her husband and we weren't something he'd be doing. We were polite and started to do some cleaning since we thought the booking was cancelled when the group showed up, acting jovially with the guy who booked it being very handsy with one woman. We confirmed the name on the reservation and mentioned that we just called and thought there might have been a cancellation. After confirming the number, the guy's face went wide. We get the event started, with further PDA showing they were a couple. They win, we offer team photo. The guy did not want to participate in the photo, and had to be convinced by his entire team to jump in. Right before the flash went off, he dropped his head to hide his face. We figured out he was with his side chick. The 21st birthday, on weekends, we hosted events pretty late into the evening, when one party showed up celebrating a 21st birthday. Birthday girl is barely coherent, she's so stuff. We get them started. Birthday girl can't focus enough to play and is generally distracting, so she does stuff like lie on floor while her team steps over her. However, they discovered a secret area, and she has to pee. We start freaking out in the control room because it's just dark enough and in one of the few corners we can't see that well as we're watching her teammates take elongated steps around her. Yes, she peed herself in the room. Thing about our rooms though was you could let yourself out if you needed to. I took a restroom break when I heard them heading out. I heard her ask if they were going to the club next. Her friend was like, "No, you're getting a bath next." Oh, fies from my manager, another night of stuff debauchery. Our teams could be paired with strangers if you didn't buy all the tickets, and most of the time it worked out fine. One part of the group showed up, family that couldn't be nicer. The other part showed up and it was a couple stuff off their stuff and their DD. The guy tried to leave his shoes in the lobby. She asked us to hold on to her beverage since we wouldn't let it in. Game gets started, she dry humps the stuff guy in front of the family in this tiny stuff room, breaks a lock off her wall, got a stuff apology for that, and generally just causes mayhem. My manager goes to debrief, and offer a free game to the poor family. They were very lovely, and give the drink back. The stuff girl looks at it and asks if he ruofied it. He's startled and says no. She says, "Oh, I really wish you had ruofied it." Mama's boy, family comes in with mom, another adult, son, and son's girlfriend. The son and GF are teenagers. Mom does not like the girlfriend and is not afraid to show it. She took every opportunity to get in the way of or belittle the girlfriend. GF found something equals doesn't mean anything. Mom noticed it before her. GF has a thought on how a puzzle is supposed to work, which either wasn't wrong or one of the common trains of thought equals mom doesn't think it will work or understands how she drew that conclusion. GF, clearly uncomfortable, tries to help son with his puzzle equals mom literally runs across the room to interject. The son did nothing to stop his mom. My coworker and I really wanted to encourage her to break up with him. Wedded bliss, block parties weren't unusual. This group was starting their bachelorette parties with us together before parting ways for the rest of the evening. They chose an especially challenging room, and were naturally getting frustrated and expressing that. However, something was said that blew up into a full-on argument between the couple-to-be. The wedding party was keeping their distance, while my coworker and I tried to decide if we should intervene. Someone from the wedding party apologized to us and made up an excuse about wedding planning stress. I think I gave some clues to speed up some of the puzzles and encourage the couple to come back to the fray. They came back from their tiff and left smiling.